You're listening to a podcast from Lite FM.
Joining me now is Dr. Wai Kin. He's a gastroenterologist and hepatologist at Gleneagles Hospital Penang. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Lee. We've got so much to ask you in relation to what we've been seeing in the news lately. Deaths linked to food poisoning have been featured a couple of times in the news. It's ongoing, in fact. People are talking about it. So the first thing we'd like to ask you is, what foods are usually the causes of food poisoning here in Malaysia? Like the main causes, like constantly you see it showing up, perhaps?
So the constantly from the food, like for example, uncooked food actually. It's the uncooked food, fried rice, and sometimes from the uncooked egg. So what is the most common case we see of the food poisoning nowadays are viruses,
Right.
like your novel virus, hepatitis A, and bacteria like Salmonella species, Campylobacter or E. coli. The less commonly parasites like Toxoplasma or tapeworms could enter our blood chain via contaminated water or soil also.
Right. How quickly do we see symptoms appear in these various different types of food poisoning? Do they all tend to happen relatively quickly?
It depends on the what type of the organisms and what are the culprit causing it. So some of the organisms or some of the bacteria, so they can appear as quick as 4 to 6 hours after consumption. So some may have a delayed onset, maybe a day or 3 days later.
Right.
So it really depends on the what is the culprit, what is the organisms that causing this food poisoning.
How do we prevent food poisoning? Is there something we can follow? Is there a guideline?
Yeah, definitely we can prevent food poisoning. So we can reduce the chance of getting food poisoning or spreading germs that can cause food poisoning if we wash our hands regularly, especially after changing diapers, going to the bathroom, blowing your nose, touching animals, or taking out the trash. So stay at home from work, school when you are sick. So pay attention to food safety. Do not drink unpasteurized milk or food mixed with it. So wash foods or vegetables well before eating them. Keep the refrigerator colder, roughly about 4 degrees.
That's interesting. Do you find that many Malaysians' homes perhaps don't keep our fridges as cold as they should be?
Yeah, I think so. Because of energy consumption, the electric bills.
All right.
So they tend not to keep it too cold, Then your freezer less than 18 degrees. So generally we say that.
Right.
So meat and seafood until well done. Then one very important thing is cook eggs until the yolk is firm. We love to eat all these
Half-boiled eggs.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But egg is one of the culprit that will cause this food poisoning if it's uncooked. So must remember, try to eat all these cooked eggs. How you think is fully cooked is to see the egg yolks when it's firm. So last but not least, must be wash hands, knife, and your cutting boards after touch with raw food.
It's interesting that you bring up the eggs because one of our favorite ways to eat eggs in Malaysia, two of them actually do not fit the bill then, because one is we love half-boiled eggs, the type that we mix with soy sauce and pepper, and then we eat it with bread. And the other one is the telur mata kerbau, which is the one with the yolk is still runny. So you're saying ideally we shouldn't eat it that way?
Yes. Ideally,
Right.
Ideally we fully cook it.
In the event that a person does get food poisoning, let's say I have food poisoning, I'm starting to feel the effects like vomiting and diarrhea, right? What's the first steps that I should take immediately?
You need to seek for medical attention if you have diarrhea more than 6 episodes in a day.
Okay.
So, or have blood in the vomiters or in your stool, in the bowel movement.
Right.
So you have a high-grade fever that does not go away within a day.
Right.
Or severe belly pains, having sign of dehydrations like feeling tired, very tired, dizziness, reduced urinations or muscle cramp. So the reduced urination is important. So parents, you can monitor your children. So you depends on the frequency they change of diapers. So you just pay attention on that. So for the adults, you just need to look at it. So how many hours from your previous urinations, your frequency, the amount, the interval, then you have some idea if you are well rehydrated or you start to have these reduced urinations, then you need to seek for medical attention. However, young children and older adults with food poisoning should see a doctor earlier. That's because this group can get dehydrated more easily. So severe food poisoning, of course, may need hospitalizations, close observations, intravenous drips. Sometimes might even need antibiotics.
In the case of allergic reactions, at which point do we seek medical attention?
Whenever in doubt, we should seek for medical attentions to differentiate, is it the food allergy or is it the food poisoning? So food allergy is generally treated with antihistamine medications, but sometimes it needs urgent or more extensive treatments like oxygen support and IV medications. Because some food allergy, if it's extensive reactions, then the allergic reactions might be quite severe. So that time you will need to seek for medical attentions. But in doubt, overall, you need to look for go to see a doctor, then to have a better examinations, then only we can tell you what is your problem. So food poisoning, most of the time, which amount can be self-resolving within 48 hours. But the severe form may need hospitalizations, like just now we mentioned, IV drips or antibiotics.
You make a lot of sense, especially when you say when in doubt. Don't try to self-medicate. If you're uncertain and if you're feeling uncomfortable, best to go seek medical help.
Correct.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. We appreciate you, and we'll let you get back to your work right now.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
You've been listening to a Lite FM podcast on Shock. That's SYOK.